I'm not surprised to hear about the traffic situation. Already hundreds of people are lined up outside the Gaylord hours before President Trump is set to speak. The doors open at 9 this morning, and while we don't know exactly how many tickets were given out for the event, we do know it is sold out, and we are expecting thousands of people in attendance today out here. We want to talk a little bit about the history of how this rally today even came to be. You'll remember this started perhaps at the September debate between former President Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. It was when Trump claimed that Venezuelan gangs in Aurora had, quote, taken over the towns and apartment buildings in Aurora. Both Aurora police and the Republican mayor of Aurora, Mike Kaufman, say that's not true, and that the presence of the gang has been dramatically exaggerated. Now, Kaufman told us he will not be at today's rally, but he says he welcomes the opportunity to show Trump the real Aurora.
I think it has hurt the city. I mean, I think that, you know, I think there are people that want the narrative to continue through the election. Obviously, we had a problem at one snapshot in time, and we've dealt with that in a very limited part of the city. But I think certainly trying to portray the city as you know, controlled by gangs is not at all accurate, and I think that having the president here is an opportunity to hopefully change that narrative.
And we want to take a closer look now at the narrative surrounding the apartment complexes in Aurora, where some of the attention has been focused, including one that was the subject of a viral video. Denver 7's Wanye Reese is at the Stanley Marketplace in Aurora this morning. We've been covering this extensively, Wanye. What can you tell us about those apartments?
Good Friday morning to you, Nicole. We've been staying on top of this from the beginning. What we do know is that 10 members of Tren de Aragua have been identified by the Aurora Police Department. We do know that 2 of those 10 being named suspects in a shooting that happened at an apartment complex here in Aurora back in July. But I want to give you a little bit more context. Take a look at your screen. You've likely seen this video that has gone viral all over social media, captured at the edge of Lowry Apartments. Police have identified all 6 people in the video, and they say that right now none of them have been connected to any organized crime. This is what the new Aurora police chief has to say at a press conference when we spoke with him back in September.
Like most major cities, Aurora, it deals with crime issues and it deals with gang activity. I think that's very open. When you look at a major city, those 2 things are in place. But we are not by any means overwhelmed by that issue. We are not by any means overtaken by Venezuelan gangs, TDA, or any other gang.
CBZ Management is the ownership of that apartment complex, and Denver 7 was able to find out that they had multiple code violations with the city. I'm talking about code violations as far as mold, we're talking about bugs and leaks all within the city in Aurora for their properties there. We did also find out just this week the city of Aurora was trying to close the edge of Lowry, but they are no longer pursuing that anymore. And right now, Nicole, we are at Rosenberg Bagel Shop here at the Stanley Marketplace. We think it's really important for us to talk to people in the community so that we can get their perspective about what they perceive about what's actually happening in their city. I'm going to have that side of the story for you during our 6:30 half hour, but I'm going to send it back out to you all at the Gaylord of the Rockies.
All right, Wanye, thank you. We also have Adria Irahita out here with me this morning. And Adria, ahead of today's rally, you looked into the security preps for this. Already we know that the president, the former president, Donald Trump, was at a rally in which someone made an attempt on his life. So security has been ramped up since that July incident. And you have been in touch with Denver and Aurora police about their work preparing for today's rally. What can you share?
Yeah, you know, they've been hard at work. It was a quick turnaround for them. As you know, we only got the announcement earlier this week. So they've been working all week to make sure that this goes smoothly. And while we don't know all the details, understandably so, it is very apparent that these plans are in place and ready to go. I mean, we're talking about hundreds of people already out here at this hour. We're actually sitting outside of the convention center, part of the Gaylord, which is where this rally is going to be held. And it's unclear, again, as you mentioned a little earlier, how many people are going to be attending this rally. It is sold out, but you can imagine just the amount of people here alone, plus everything else that they have to deal with. And talking about where the Gaylord is located specifically, there is only one way in and out of this resort, and that is 64th Avenue. So while we don't really know the details of where the former president is flying in or where he's going to be traveling through, we do know that regardless, he is going to be driving down 64th Avenue. So as we can imagine, there will be a lot of security in place on that street. And police say it'd be good for everyone to anticipate some disruptions and delays, regardless of if you're attending the event or not. The neighborhoods to the south of the Gaylord will likely be impacted for a bit as the former president makes his way in and out of the Gaylord. And I want to talk about those neighborhoods. There is no on-site parking for this event. So police are telling people now, do not park on the side of the road and do not park in those neighborhoods near the resort. There will be 2 nearby lots available to park at and a limited number of shuttles to get people to and from the Gaylord. The Colorado GOP advising people may end up having to walk quite a bit to get to the Gaylord. And they're also not allowing any bags here today. They're only allowing a clutch-sized bag, so that's a 4.5 by 6.5 inches. Or if you need a little bit larger of a bag, you can also bring a clear bag, but that is it. So again, talking about that security, how they are really controlling the crowds here at the Gaylord. And local departments like Denver and Aurora police tell me they've been working closely with each other and the Secret Service to make sure this goes off smoothly.
Anytime you have either a former president, current president, someone powerful that runs our free country, I think is a unique opportunity. You'll see definitely an increased presence of law enforcement from the police department. You'll probably see security from, the venue itself. Obviously, the Secret Service is involved.
And we do have an idea of what the former president's visit is going to look like. It seems like it is going to be a quick turnaround for him as he has a speaking engagement tonight in Reno at 6:30, which is about a 2-hour flight from the Denver area. So it looks like he'll be taking off here pretty soon after the rally.
And we know that traffic toward the airport during his arrival and departure will be impacted. Traffic expert Jason Luber has been keeping an eye on that impact. Jason, we know it's going to be a busy weekend at DIA as it is because it's fall break for many students here in Colorado, and they were already anticipating larger than normal numbers out there.
And I'm already seeing a large number of people that are already heading to the airport right now and to the Gaylord Rockies. Now, what I expect is that the president will be arriving here at the Signature Aviation area, private aircraft parking area, after about 11 o'clock or so today. And then the motorcade around noon is what I'm guessing would be heading either this way through the airport grounds or on 75th Avenue over to Jackson Gap Road, 64th, and then on over to the Gaylord. Now, obviously, we're going to have some restrictions in here when that happens, including on and off E470, getting on over to 64th Avenue. So more closely, this is where the motorcade could go all the way down to Jackson Gap and then past what really would be mostly impacted, the Park DA parking lot over here, and they would be holding all the traffic through here, so the shuttle buses that pick up those folks wouldn't be able to get to or from the airport, and then the people couldn't park over there as well. So we already see some very slow traffic coming off of I-70 through there, so it's already a busy spot, and just plan on extra time if you need to get out there here later on this afternoon.